Hello, I'm Catheryn Calderon, and I will be conducting an interview on the topic of gender roles. For the purpose of this interview, the interviewee requested not to be fully identified. The interviewee is James, age 25. He is a sports enthusiast and athlete to the core. James takes pride in being a devoted and strong father to his son, as well as life partner. James has always had a passion for helping youth grow and provide them with opportunities to thrive. In his free time, James enjoys spending time with his family, going to work out, playing basketball, watching movies, and having a drink with his friends. The purpose of this interview is to gain insight and understanding of the opposite gender. How would you define gender?
A social identity.
And how would you identify yourself?
As a male.
Do you believe there are any gender roles that people should be taught to follow?
No.
Do you think that the way a person is raised can affect their gender identity?
Yes, because the way a person is raised is given their culture, and culture deems their gender.
Do you think there are any specific jobs that only a man or woman should do?
Yes, I do believe that there are specific jobs to each sex. So because different sexes are.
Do you think there are any specific jobs that only a man or woman should do?
Yes, I do believe that there are specific jobs to each sex. So because different sexes are given different strengths and weaknesses, but do I feel that everyone can do the same job? Yes. So to answer your question, yes, I do think that there's specific jobs that literally only a man or a woman should do.
Such as?
Such as heavy construction or really heavy lifting. Yes, there are a small few of women that are capable to do the job, but for a majority, the male sex is built a little bit stronger because of their culture and upbringings. Generally, the male has a lot more physicality in their upbringing. So when it comes to a job, they that requires heavy lifting. Usually, a male is the right person for the job. For example, for a female, a position or an office position that requires critical thinking or planning and talking with people, the female sex has the ability to build rapport and a lot better than the male, given their upbringing of being social with girls and social and different activities. So often,
In your country, how do the roles of men and women differ in the family?
the male sex is often the person that brings in a little bit more financially to the family, given that unfortunately most jobs here in this country in the USA in high positions only hire males. So that is why I think men bring in a little bit more financially, and the women are usually stay at home or bring less financially.
Why do you think women usually live 5 years longer than men?
Women are more emotionally stable, which allows them to express their emotions. They're not bottled up, which means they're less likely to be stressed over the years. Also, the male sex, given their upbringing, has endured usually a multitude of sports or physical activity to where they are burnt out and not taking care of themselves. And given the male sex culture, it's a tough guy culture. You don't really check in or go to doctor's appointments and things like that until it's too late.
In your society, are there certain behaviors that are socially acceptable for men compared to women?
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. A male, someone that is of the male sex, can spit, and it's a manly thing to do. Someone of the male sex can dress more casually in loose fitted clothes, and it'd be okay. And the opposite, someone of the male sex can dress with tight fitted clothes, and it be generally okay. Persons of the women, of the female sex, if they dress a little bit too loose, they're considered transsexual, transgender, or gay. Women or persons of the female sex, if they spit or do anything that is culturally masculine, then they are considered a dyke.
Do you think that men and women have the same views on body image?
Yes.
How do you think they both view body image?
I think both the female and the male sex view body image the same. Now, if you're asking me the importance of body image, that would be a different question. What if I think this both sexes view body image importance the same? I would say no. The male sex cares a lot more about how he's viewed, how he's appealed, how he seems to others, whereas the female is really just in tune with herself and is comfortable with her body.
In what aspects is it easier to be a man, and in what aspects is it easier to be a woman?
I think one aspect, as far as being of the male sex, that is easier is being frustrated and being stubborn, because that almost comes culturally with the male characteristic. So oftentimes the male is let off with a pass if they're frustrated or stubborn, or things are going their way and they have a tantrum. So in that way, I think it's easier to be a guy, opposed to a woman. Something must be wrong if a woman is frustrated and cursing maybe, or something's going on, or maybe she's belligerent or whatever it is, because society doesn't see that as being very woman-like. I would say it's easier to be one aspect to be a woman is, like I've said before, answering question, is to be so open with emotion. Sometimes I feel like they use it as an upper hand, and it's very easy to be that way because they're a woman, so they can cry, and they can overly cry, and they can overly, have all these emotions, and it's never too much because they're a woman.
Okay. Young boys and girls often play with different toys, boys with guns and cars, and girls with dolls. Why do you think this is so?
Just years of aged information and ignorance and just culture, just things being taught for so long that girls can only play with dolls and boys can only play with cars. Started off as a cultural thing. Girls grow up and they do makeup and they look in the mirror and they do all that. That's great. That may or may not be the majority. And same things with boys. Boys, they're going to grow up, work on their car, have a car, and maybe go off to war and do these things. It's a cultural thing. Now, does that mean the girl can't play with cars and guns and things like that, and a boy can't play with dolls? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. I think it's been years and years of people being scared that people would identify themselves differently if there was a shift in their culture.
How should your own children, for instance, a son and a daughter, be treated differently?
They would be treated the same, but also create a new culture, a new subculture. Obviously, the children were made with two people, so taking the best of both cultures and creating their own culture.